We are live. Hello. Welcome to Manic Money Finance. I am your host, Money Mike, not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So, the tone and style of this one's going to be a little different than our normal, typical Manic Money podcasts. Um, Let me check volume levels here. Welcome to Manic Money Finance. I am your host, Money Mike. All right. Seems good. I like it a lot. Sharing it to the news feed. When World War III. Sharing it to the Manic Money Finance channel. Just give me 1 second here, people. All right. Those are out. Boom, bada bing. Trying to get that monetization, if you know what I'm saying. So, a very sobering thing happened over the weekend. I'm like I said before, I don't do politics, so I'm going to find a way to navigate this conversation without really getting into the good and bad of politics and whether or not I think someone made the right decision or not. It's just gonna it'd be one of those it is what it is situations. As you will probably notice, I got a new office chair action. It's good on my back. Anybody who knows me knows I was in a dining room chair before this point. So I might just lounge back today, relax a little bit. So basically, Trump made the unilateral decision, as presidents are technically allowed to do. They're allowed to call on airstrikes. And what he basically did was wipe out all of Iran's potential nuclear capabilities if they didn't already have them. So, if any of that uranium got enriched to 90% and got shipped out before a dozen bunker buster bombs, 30,000 pound bombs, 360,000 pounds of bunker busting. And the bunker busting bombs are pretty insane. I don't know if anybody knows this, but it's a primary charge with a secondary charge, and they plummet into the ground. Then a primary charge goes off, launches a secondary thing down, and that blows up as well. So basically, that underground facility, granted, if everything they told us was true, and the mushroom clouds that we saw looked pretty damn convincing, that thing's gone. So basically, Iran's talking about closing up the Strait of Humza. I don't know, some strait. But a lot of people are scared for tomorrow morning for the stock market. The stock market has already digested this news. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and check out the SPY so I can show you guys. I got all kinds of stuff going on right here. So I can kind of show you guys when exactly it digested this news. We're going to look at the past month. So basically, back here, this is when all the crap with, Iran and Israel started. I believe late May. And actually, I believe it was just this past week. Yeah, sorry. I misspoke. So we are regaining the trend, and then this is when the whole crap with Israel and Iran started. Just 10 days ago. And it was pretty jarring to the stock market. Obviously, it kind of regained where it was before. It's now trading at 594, unfortunately. It's or 5,942. It has dropped below the 6,000 level. This is the past day. I mean, we did have a lot of volume and a giant buy candle. basically what people are thinking is this thing is going to pop oil prices. So that's where most investors are going to basically make a quick buck off of this. Is oil's already gone up significantly since Iran and Israel started their crap. Probably from $62 a barrel to 75 currently. So I'll show you what I use to look up oil prices. It's pretty basic. So I will go into Google and just search up oil barrel price. Kind of like this. So it'll tell you that where the prices are sitting. Google AI likes to tell you to do this whole thing. But I'll go right here. Crude oil prices today. Oilprice.com. It's so basic. Whoever put this together, bravo to you. Little clapping here. Because this is a fantastic tool to use to track oil prices. You can go through different articles and oil prices poised to soar. It'll tell you about energy company news. It's pretty wild. But I usually just go right to here. The futures markets. Anybody knows the futures markets. It's basically the prediction of traders on where this stuff's going to go. I can bring ahead and bring up the chat. So many of you, if you follow this show, I've done the oil play before. I was kind of late to the draw on this one. If you go on the Manic Money Facebook page, you will know that I took a lottery ticket call. This is really funny because some of your best trades end up just being, stupid little lottery ticket plays that you make. And, here's your chart. Your chart from the last week. Here's your chart from the last month. Absolutely insane. Just to see 60 to 80. Almost. Wild. Okay, so that's where I go to check out oil barrel prices. You're going to see OPEC basket. Urals. That's a Russian oil. Still at $67 a barrel. 394-day delay. Oh my Lanta. Okay, so we don't know the price of Russian oil because of the sanctions. You got your Murban crude, your Mexican oil. It's nice. This is. I mean, you can't get much better than this. So that's where I go to check out what's going on with oil prices. Now, you're probably wondering what was my lottery ticket play. I put it on the Facebook page when I bought it, but I bought contracts on a stock, a penny stock. An oil is actually not even a true oil stock. They provide services for oil fields. Go ahead and bring this up for y'all. 9 Energy Services Inc. or 9 Energy Service Inc. So I want to look at the 5-day because I was looking at this thing this day. And I was seeing that out of all the energy sector stocks that usually go nuts when oil goes to the roof, they were basically already done and dropping. And I was looking at 9, thinking to myself, this thing is massively short sold. You don't have another earnings for 40 days. It's battered down. And if it can regain these $1.25 to $1.25 levels, there's no real active resistance at $1 here. It gapped down. And so the gap right here, which is, being filled as we speak, that was my play. But some interesting things happened. So when I saw basically the markets getting pounded into the dirt by the whole Israel-Iran thing, I realized I needed to ditch BlackBerry. So basically I needed to free up some funds because those lottery ticket calls that I bought on 9, and this is not financial advice, they were out of the money at 75 cents. They're $1 calls. So I was out of the money at 75 cents. 2 days later, on Friday, we were in dollar land. And I exercised right here about 2 o'clock on Friday. Because I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to let these things go out of the money again. I'm exercising right away. So I exercised those contracts. I had to free up some money to buy the stock. So I sold out of my BlackBerry positions for a modest profit. I got out of BlackBerry. I kept the puts that I had for hedging just in case BlackBerry drops with the broader market. So I have that play going for me still. All the other BlackBerry stuff is gone. The Pacific Biotech, because of what was happening with Israel and Iran, it was well on its way to going over $1.50 last week. It hit $1.38 on Tuesday. No change in sight. It was going. That was going to be a massive moneymaker for me. And because of what happened, fortunately, I had to exercise those options, right? So I sold $1.50 puts. So my cost basis is $1.25, including the premium that I made. I will eventually be doing a video on options so people can understand what I'm talking about. But you should look it up yourself a bit. Selling options can be incredibly lucrative, especially on small stocks with a small price point. So I am now the proud owner of 3,500 shares of Pacific Biotech, and the proud owner of a bunch of shares of 9 Energy Service. And my cost basis for them would be $1.05 because I bought the contracts for 5 cents a piece, dirt cheap. They're lottery ticket plays. So, and it sucks that there's a war in the Middle East. I would say knowing that very few people actually got killed in these airstrikes kind of washes my conscience a little. This is the problem with making money off of war when stuff like this happens. If you are one of the lucky few to actually make money off war, you have to deal with that the dilemma, the moral dilemma. But at the end of the day, it's not like you started the war. At the end of the day, you're not dropping bombs. You're not the one deciding when the bombs get dropped. You're just adapting to the market fundamentals. You're adapting to the market, the situation the market's in. So yeah, crypto I bailed out on before this happened. I was actually checking out XRP. I know. I was thinking XRP, if the market kept surging, it's actually one of the few ones that looks like it was getting left behind, basically acting like a stable coin at $2 a token. So I was checking out XRP for the first time in a long time, but I had to bail out of that too. So I still have my Bitcoin Depot warrants, and which brings up our next point. The next funniest thing to me, if you are looking for jokes and stuff that's not happening in this stream, just deal with it. We're talking about war. This is crazy stuff. But Bitcoin basically dropped to 98.4. That doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't have the $100,000 support. 97.5, I believe, is the biggest critical price point that it needed to stay above. But this is just, you see inverse head and shoulders here. So this is good stuff. And as you can see, we're getting that round bottom, but that 830 reversal went down and bow. So I think Bitcoin is going to be all right. As you can see, the news for Bitcoin today was Texas launching a Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, the very first state to invest in Bitcoin. They have a massive economy, runs a lot on oil. Pretty sure they drill for more oil than anybody. They also do some crazy stuff with natural gas and everything else. So they got the money to burn on some oil. So that might be what was the driving force in getting this thing to bounce from here. But as you can see, this is your stereotypical pattern. Obviously, the United States bombing Iran caused this drop. Why? I don't know. Because if you're going to have sanctions, You're going to have military actions. You're going to have the inability to move money between bank accounts because of what might be happening. The only way you're going to be able to move money across borders at that point is going to be cryptocurrency. It never stops. They can't stop it. They can't stop you sending crypto to Afghanistan, Venezuela, Cuba. They cannot stop it, which is interesting to me. Why cryptocurrency takes a hit during times like these. If anything, you would expect cryptocurrency to go up. You would expect it to go up when stuff like this happens. That's just something I've noticed. It's strange to me, but what can you do? So let's see. My holdings are actually very easy to quantify now and show you. Pacific Biosciences is one. As you can see back here on Monday, that was Monday afternoon, we were rocketing up to $1.38. As you can see, we broke out of this wedge pattern to the upside. We're still in the upside, and this will actually be forming a new support, an average dollar cost average support right here. I could bring you up more technical indicators, but this is pretty solid right here. So basically, this pattern actually still looks really good. So this is the one I wouldn't call it stuck in this trade. I can probably sell some calls next week and bring my cost basis even farther down. And granted, I'm not going to sell in the money calls. I'm going to sell out of the money calls. But then again, also, I want to see what's going to happen. This is a major buyout candidate with insane DNA use case. So I might just sit on these shares long term. I now have the ability to. I'll obviously be looking at 9 as the short-term play for this week. Oil and everything with Iran goes nuts, and 9 goes through the roof. I'm going to sell off that for a profit. Chill. Hold these bad boys more long-term, and then I'll probably look for the next play from there. Maybe a Russell 3000 play, or maybe I already have another play, another war play for you guys. And maybe this war play is a battered down stock called Silnexicum. So, not financial advice. SYNX. Took a short sale volume. Oh. Short sale volume. Nothing crazy. But let's look at Silnexicum. Let's look at the 6-month chart, and you'll see what I'm seeing. We have a massive gap down, and as you know, gaps tend to fill. Let's check out earnings. Earnings, bad. Earnings, bad. So this is not earnings. This is probably an offering here. So this company is doing something with drones. They have contracts with the Israeli government, all other kinds of stuff. It's pretty interesting. You can go and look at their financials. Strong buy, 1-year price target, $8. In-ear headset device is used in both training and operations by military, law enforcement, and disaster recovery industry professionals. The company was founded on August 22nd, 2021, and headquartered in Netanya, Israel. So this is a wartime play. I don't believe there's any options for this bad boy. All you can do is buy shares, but at $2 a share, not too bad. If you look at the 3-month chart, like I said, it was $4 3 months ago in March. It's been battered. It hit $1.79, so it's not too high off of that 52-week low. So I usually like to look at the 52-week low and 52-week high. on these bad boys. And this one, the 52-week high is 649. The 52-week low is $1.65. Market cap's only 13 million. So basically, what I'm going to be doing with 9 is I'm going to be looking for my exit, the $1.05 cost average. If it goes insane tomorrow morning, just off speculation, in pre-market, I'm out. If it goes insane in pre-market tomorrow, especially 50% to double my money, I'm out. And I'm going into this one because this one to me has a much higher percentage, higher probability to really work out for me and make me some money. So this stuff like this is how you're gonna make money off war. Sounds bad just saying it. I will admit, almost forgot this guy. Sounds bad just saying it, but I assure you it's really not that bad because, like I said, you're not the person shooting the firearms. You're not the person doing the actions, making the decisions that ultimately lead to people's demise, to the destructions of nations, the droppings of bombs. You are just trying your best to keep growing your portfolio in times like these. So I'll actually go ahead. The nice thing about Robinhood is they'll show you the overnight markets. And it's pretty crazy. I'm already up. It's saying that today I'm already up 8% due to the overnight markets. I just want to look at what SPY is doing on the overnight. So SPY is down significantly on the overnight, 5,910. Or the SPY ETF itself, 591. Not looking good. Robinhood is actually going up in the overnight market, which is interesting. So I like to go find stocks that have overnight market. Let's talk about another possible Israeli play on this. And this one's usually always does pretty good during the Israeli war thing. They have nothing to do with the war. They're just a cyber defense company, just because they're based in Israel. So this company, posted massive earnings. The last earnings in May, and you just seen this thing rocket. It's insane. This chart actually looks really good. This gap filled. This chart actually looks pretty sweet. You got higher lows, and typically when crazy stuff's going on with Israel, the stock for some reason just goes nuts because it's an Israeli cybersecurity stock. Another one to keep your eye on, because honestly, as far as defense contractors go, where we're at now in the war, if you were to be investing in defense contractors, that would be absolute pure speculation. So as far as the United States go, there's not going to be boots on the ground. Congress is not going to approve that. So you will probably not see boots on the ground in any of these conflicts. Something crazy would have to happen to Israel by Iran. Just, not saying that would happen, or I'm wishing for that to happen. I think actually defense contracting plays are usually just not good once you get into that point, because so many people's portfolios are getting ruined. It's just not good for the world economy in general. It's not good for people in general. I go ahead and let people know that I do have a heart. I'm not going to, discuss with you political views or leanings. Here at Manic Money, Money Mike is a centrist. Okay? We do not get pulled into the whole world of, oh, what's your political views? And I'm either going to hate you or love you based off of that. I don't care. If you're one of those people that you need to know my political views and I need to be on your side, in order for you to follow me or be my fan. I don't want you. Not on this show. The show's about making money. It's not politics involved. It's about adapting. Once you start, and I've seen this so much in the message boards. So StockTwits is probably what I usually use primarily for, basically looking at sentiment on stocks, finding information on stocks. And then, of course, there'll be some really incredible traders on there that trade professionally and post their stuff for you to see, which is amazing. They could charge money for it and they don't. So I'll be on StockTwits nowadays, and it's worse now than it ever has been before. But people will be on Bitcoin, people will be on the SPY, people will be, obviously you're going to expect that when you look at DJT, Donald Trump's stock that Truth Social is wrapped up into, the reverse SPAC merger. You're going to see it on there. You just know there's going to be all kinds of people either crapping on him, loving him, whatever. You expect that. But on the SPY, on Bitcoin, you're starting to see it more than ever before. And it's crazy. Absolutely crazy to me. Why would you let your politics affect your trading? That's what you're letting your emotions get into it at that point. You're letting your worldview, your political leanings affect your trading, which is just dumb. You need to be impartial, unemotional. You need to stay frosty. So frosty. So to get all bent out of shape about a political party, it just doesn't make any sense. You're clearly letting your emotions get the best of you. Just saying. That being said, what do I think is going to happen? Well, we had some war this weekend. We had some bombings. And while Iran's ability to keep creating enriched weaponized uranium is probably limited, if not completely stopped, there is some conflicting intel saying that they may or may not have already created some nuclear weapons. They at least had enough to make a dirty bomb. 87% enrichment is what I'm hearing. And even if they couldn't put together an atom bomb, an actual nuclear fission bomb, they very much could have created dozens of dirty bombs. Those are really bad. The fallout, the contamination. Obviously, uranium's not the best thing to use to make a dirty bomb, but they could still do it. And that would be horrific and horrendous anywhere those were used. But like I said, an actual large-scale nuclear fission bomb, I don't think that happened. That's just my gut reaction. And I know I'm talking about world events, but it's important to realize those really shape the markets in general. You could sit there and look at the charts all day long, and we'll actually do that. So if you look at the SPY chart, and we'll back it up just to show you guys, because, I'm all about, taking in every aspect of trading, and you can't be just a chart trader, because if you were just a chart trader and you're looking at the S&P 500, you saw a price consolidation moment, and this is a nice gradual thing. This wasn't insanity, right? You saw little dips, another little dip here. And if you were a chart reader, you would be looking at this thinking we're going to stay in this uptrend pattern. You could have even brought it out even farther. We'll go right to this top here and right to this top here. Then we'll go right to this lowest bottom here, near-term low bottom. And I'm going to stay away from these other ones and bring it to here. And you would expect this to funnel up into the here and either drop or go up. This right here was the wrench in the gears. This was news that started this, and it was the tariffs. It was the inaction of the tariffs, and he had been talking about the tariffs, and he got elected, and he got inaugurated, and it still did not drop, even though he was telling everybody, I'm going to put the tariffs on them. So he didn't Still, it didn't drop. Once he enacted those tariffs in real time, had to put the actual tariffs on these countries, it wasn't until then that you saw it drop. The news jumped in and totally, there's no gap on this chart to be filled that would make you think that this is a buying opportunity. Yeah, you see this green candle. It's crazy, but this is all news driven. And then look at it more near term, bring it back to the 1 month. We regained this channel, which was healthy growth. And this was a lot of consolidation down here. We consolidated a bunch. All right. We're good. The dip happened. Now we're back, baby. Sure enough, Israel and Iran start bombing the crap out of each other. That news was enough to drop the markets again. Inflation data was good. Inflation data was better than expected. The Fed chose to keep the rates the same, but they said, a cut is coming. Don't worry, cuts are coming. Inflation data looked good. And there was nothing that the Fed said, nothing that Jerome Powell said that caused the market to crash out. It was actually the first time, I have to say this, it was the first time that I saw inflation data and Jerome Powell speaking not absolutely just cause the market to go one way or the other. It's pretty crazy. That was the first time that I haven't seen it, seen that happen. If you do go to the Facebook, you will notice that I'm still into United States Gold Corp. I actually think that might be pretty good right now. I think, this is only a 5-day chart here, 1 month chart. I think gold is still very good. You saw this price spike on Saturday. But even gold is falling. But I think gold is going to be one of those safe haven ones. Crude oil futures. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Crude oil futures. This was right here. Friday. Boom. This is today. Crazy. So now you're going to have everybody and their grandma jumping in the oil place, oil stocks, which is, it's going to be wild to see. And that's basically why I'm looking at the time to get out. Because I don't think the United States is going to keep going. I think Iran's going to put its tail between its legs now that the United States got involved. I think Iran, they're talking a big game right now. They're all, oh, yeah, retaliation. We're going after the bases. Blue. I don't think they're going to do it. I really don't. They're not that dumb. This is all there is to it. They're not that dumb. So I think what we will see, and even if they were that dumb, I think they're gonna, faint. They're gonna make it seem like, let's talk peace. Let's talk peace. And then they'll do some stuff. They're gonna try to disarm. And when that happens, that'll be your opportunity to make some money again. But obviously, because of everything that happened, they're expecting a price spike in oil. And I think what's ultimately going to happen is that the United States is going to just keep cranking out oil, and we're producing more and more oil capacity every day to the point where, it's really not going to matter. Because you see this chart right now, this 1-day chart. They open up the market Sunday, 1800, so Sunday at 6 p.m. You saw this massive spike on the oil price. And right now, this looks like a cup and handle type action. Like, this looks like building support, and we could see $80 a barrel in the morning because that's just where people are thinking this is going. Iran's going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which is going to cut off a lot of oil supply. But like I said before, the Saudis, everybody else, it's going to be business as usual. That strait does not actually supply a ton of oil. I think you're going to see certain countries and corporations be like, and we can charge more money off this oil if we just, make it seem like, ooh, bad things happening in the Middle East, price of oil going up. So they're going to be all for it. It's basically what you're going to see. It's a market. It's a market. It's a racket. Let's check out Bitcoin. But yeah, that's my place for next week. I'm not stuck in the Pacific Biotech. It's just if I get out now, I'm getting out at break even. I see a lot of promise with that one. I'm very heavy towards that right now. That's fine. So Bitcoin bounced off that 100,000 support. This is actually looking pretty good right now. Obviously, you had a nice spike here in a 30-minute period. That's healthy. This is good stuff. I'm seeing a cup. I'm seeing a handle. This looks like we're upward trajectory still. So we're going to look at Bitcoin Depot. As you know, this has been my biggest trade the past couple months. Killing it on this one. Positive earnings. Good earnings back in May. They really, really rocketed. We're in a consolidation period here, which is healthy. So you look back at the past 5 days. This will coincide exactly with the Bitcoin chart because they now have 100 Bitcoin in their financial reserve, their company treasuries, the company treasury, if you will. So this is really not surprising in the least. They're making their way towards 7. 7's a real tricky one for them. It's a real sticking point. Basically, I mean, this does look good. This is a nice chart still. After earnings, they closed down into the 5s. After market, they closed down into the 5s. They, a mixed shelf. They did a mixed shelf offering for up to 100 million, which is not a big deal. They're probably just going to use it to buy more Bitcoin. Actually, their biggest client would be Circle K's, I believe. And they are getting bought out by 7-Eleven right now. So basically, what's going to happen, or they're buying up the 7-Elevens. That's what it is. So what might end up happening is they might not need a bunch more capital. They might need a bunch more capital to make that happen. I don't think they don't need money for normal day-to-day business operations. They have plenty of cash now. And 100 million really ain't crap. Market cap is 387 million. And it's a mixed shelf offering. So obviously that might not end up being much of anything. It might be a big old nothing burger. Let's check it out. Actually, let's check it out. Yeah, still, I don't see that being massive. I'm going to be looking at trailing stop loss type action at this point, though, because as you can see, the profit made is insane. So I might have to bail on this trade. Like I said, you can't always look at things in an absolute finite way. Obviously, I wanted this to be my best trade that I've ever made. I wanted to see 100 times gains on this. Without a doubt. 600% in the past 3 months. And it's actually the past month and a half, 600% gains. That might be, 100% and I think I put $360 into this trade. So yeah, I'm about 5 to 6 times my money. Might be the time to bail out. I'm gonna, keep an eye on it, and obviously, given Bitcoin's drop this weekend, if it has not recovered completely by tomorrow, this is the 1 month chart here. It's a 3 month chart. That was the 5-day chart. Oh boy. So this has not recovered completely come tomorrow morning. So basically in the $103 to $104, $105,000 range. I might bail short term on the Bitcoin Depot warrants. The mixed shelf offering really is a catalyst. So, you really have to be able to take in new information. Don't just let your money ride on something. Basically, I'm killing it in the small account. This brings the small account from, freaking 100. Let me see. This brings a small account 3 times, triples the small account from when we started it. And basically because I took a 3-month break and I wasn't adding $15 a week into it, I didn't actually get to show you guys how to build a nice small account from the ground up. So I might just restart that whole thing and consolidate my Charles Schwab accounts, especially if I ditch the Bitcoin Depot. It'll be super easy for me to just move that cash around in these different Charles Schwab accounts and just restart the small account challenge, and then I'll allocate as I see fit to basically slowly turn my Schwabi accounts into the new day trading accounts because of the platform they have. But yeah, I'm going way off base, way off kilter here. I haven't live streamed in a week, and I did not feel like getting into character tonight as Money Mike. I just kind of wanted to keep it more somber too, because what's happening in the world is pretty crazy. It's nothing anybody should be celebrating. I know that I'm making money off this, and most likely tomorrow morning, 9 is going to go nuts. And, that's pretty awesome because I own it. I'll actually keep it here. So that way, next time I bring up TradingView, you can see what happens. And I'll bring it down to the 5-day for y'all. Next time I bring up TradingView, y'all be able to see what happens. It'll probably be bombastic. And yeah, it'll be an interesting thing. But like I said, this is not no happy-go-lucky celebrating. When you're making money off war, well, it's good for your portfolio. It doesn't necessarily feel good. I would actually be happier if Pacific Biotech announced a buyout or a merger tomorrow with a valuation of $5 a share, and I can make an insane amount of money off of that trade, because that trade, it was a fundamental, just basic bare bones trade where I found a good stock at a good value because of current market conditions. And when I saw the reversal was imminent, I jumped in. So I would actually be way happier to make money off that tomorrow. I would be happier to see Bitcoin Depot pop again tomorrow, because what you weren't seeing on TradingView And my biggest problem with TradingView is they don't show you aftermarket trading because it was trading at 5.99. So the closing price at 4 o'clock was 6.01. They popped up in aftermarket a little bit, but then by the time 8 p.m. came around, they were trading down under 6, just a little bit. So really not looking great. Obviously, it seemed like investors really shook off the whole mixed shelf offering thing, mostly because of Circle K getting bought out by 7-Eleven or whatever. But the 7-Eleven deal. So this is what I'm looking up. The Circle K 7-Eleven deal actually nears completion and could be worth $50 billion. They have a non-disclosure agreement, which actually signals the potential final steps of a proposed mega merger between the two convenience store giants. So basically, what could be happening with Bitcoin Depot and why I think they're doing the mixed shelf offering is if Circle K finalizes that merger with 7-Eleven and Circle K becomes the managing, arm of that, or the party that takes over, basically, Bitcoin Depot is going to need to buy a crap ton of Bitcoin Depot ATMs to put into Speedways and 7-Elevens, which would be wild. And that'll be nothing but good for 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven really has a branding issue in the United States. They do very well overseas, especially in Japan. But for some reason, they're just not doing well in America. And I think it has to come down to the franchise model of running stores. You don't really see that with Circle K. Circle K tends to be corporate stores, which, is much better in a lot of ways. Employees, the quality of your employee, the enthusiasm of your employee goes way up. The problem with franchises is they're typically very small businesses, meaning they don't have to offer health insurance or any of this other stuff because most franchisees only own 2 to 3 stores or even just one store. Therefore, they only have a few employees. They don't have to offer benefits. But that's getting dialed back too. So it should be interesting to see what happens. I'm still in the Bitcoin Depot play, eyeing potential profit taking measures now, possibly jumping out and jumping into other things. Maybe just with I own Bitcoin Depot warrants in 3 accounts, so I can pair out one account and get into something else, etc., etc. We'll see. As you all know, Robinhood is where I'm primarily trading my short-term funds. So, and they don't offer warrants. So, yeah. Well, this has been fun. Real fun. World War III talk, nuclear bombs, insanity. Yeah. Not good. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. And, remember, we got to stay frosty. Stay frosty. But I will be posting. So I did not post those trades on Friday to the Facebook page. It's a crazy week at work. It doesn't look like it's going to be getting any better. It's probably only going to get crazier for me next week. But I'm making a promise here now. I want my viewers, you, to hold me accountable. I will be posting all of my trades on the Facebook page immediately after I make them. Just gonna have to do it. My boss doesn't like it. Well, he's just not gonna like it. I know I can get away with it though. It's pretty cool. Okay. Stay frosty, my friends. Good luck out there.